our sound, like we're gonna do it like this? Like
Well,
what brought that all together?
I think that really, I mean, you got to look at the KRS, Rakim, Kane, G-Rap, Chill Rob G, Lakim Shabazz, whole 45 King thing, you know, LL Cool J, and then you got De La Soul. And I think that as far as personal style, not necessarily rap style, but just personal style, the peace and love, I'm being myself. I don't care about these dudes over here in the Kangos trying to imitate whatever's hot at the time. That really spoke to me personally. So I think that we got a lot of comparisons of native tongues. One, because we're a crew, but then also because we had locks. We weren't necessarily always talking about street stuff or all that. But when you listen back to our records, I mean, you know, my mom gets popped in the thigh on one. You know what I'm saying? No, we talking about joining gangs on another one. You know, shanking old ladies, all kind of stuff. So it wasn't like, I think the visual presence made those comparisons a little bit more viable than the reality. You know, if I think we all came out dressed like NWA, we probably wouldn't have the success that we had. We probably wouldn't have been as true to who we were as people, but it probably would have been more accurate as to where our minds were at that age growing up in the, you know, 80s and 90s in Oakland, you know?
It's important that you mention that, because A Plus mentioned that when we chopped it up, because he was saying that, like, you still came up in Oakland.
Yeah.
So regardless of the fact of whether you was on some other shit, you were still in the hood in Oakland. So it was like, Oakland is Oakland, and I've rocked out in Oakland, so I get it. So
and that's New Oakland, 80s Oakland. You know, you grew up in the 80s. We all grew up in the 80s and 90s. This shit right here that they're dealing with is a walk in the park. You know,
yeah, the gentrified Oakland is different.
Yeah, gentrified Oakland is different, but also just America. I mean, you know, the opioid crisis and all that, but that shit don't got nothing on heroin or crack. You know what I'm saying? No, nothing. Like, we grew up in some bad situations. And then on top of that, I would say that since it was post-Panthers, Oakland was hit harder than other places. You know, crack is from here. You know, heroin was pumped in here. In fact, the Panthers were getting the heroin dealers off the street, and the government didn't like that and started really pushing the crack here. So we got hit really, really hard. So it went from a place, like my family's from Pittsburgh, my dad's side. So they moved from Pittsburgh. My earliest memories are driving from Pittsburgh to Oakland. And I remember my grandma got me a Spider-Man piggy bank in Pittsburgh, and I filled it up. And I remember a couple of years later, somebody had cut it like an orange peel when we moved to Oakland and took all my stuff out my piggy bank and took all our Christmas gifts, like, you know, on Christmas Eve. So, you know, we was moving out here to get away. I mean, because there was prosperity, etc. But then when that crack hit, it changed everything.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that. Do you get back out here often? I mean, I know we linked